At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I think my microphone is on. It is, yeah, just double checking. We've seen that happen before, haven't we? Good morning. It is Tuesday, April 2nd. Did any of you get fooled on April Fool's Day? I got pretty lucky. I didn't get any jokes. Nobody tried to fool me. I was really surprised. On K Shasta, 104.3. Of course, I do that morning update with Don and Heather in the mornings. And they did not try to trick me. And I think the reason they did that is because they knew. I think they knew that, I was not gonna fall for it, and that I was kind of expecting it. And I think they actually watch in the morning, so maybe they're like, Mike, no, so we're not gonna try to trick him. All right. Good morning to everyone. Good morning to Casey and Ruth, kind of some of our regular watchers tuning in early this morning. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I want to remind you that there are several different ways in which you can watch. Of course, you've got the free Weather NorCal app. And this is something I actually heard a colleague of mine who also is kind of doing the same thing for me. He's out in East Tennessee. He says, get rid of all your other weather apps. And there's a reason for that. And I say that because this is the weather app that I have. It's a one-stop shop. It's everything you need, from the current temperatures to the 7-day forecast to the neighborhood forecast. And of course, this is also where you can watch Coffee with Krueger on your phone. It's also where you can watch all my latest video updates. So it's not only it's not what you typically get out of your other apps for the most part, but you get everything else that you're going to need from a local weather app. And I think it's phenomenal. So I encourage you to check it out. Weather NorCal. Go to your app store, go to your Android, Google Play Store, search for Weather NorCal, and download the app for free today. Watch on your smart TV as well. You can, of course, you got a Roku Fire TV, right? Fire Stick. You can download the free app from those devices. Search for Weather NorCal, and you're watching the 24-hour streaming channel. Now, of course, when it's live, you can watch Coffee with Krueger on your Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. Otherwise, when it's just kind of the 24-hour streaming channel, you can get that as well. Also on YouTube, if you have a smart TV but don't have Roku or Amazon Fire Stick, maybe an Apple TV, for example, just go to the YouTube app, search for Weather NorCal, and of course you can subscribe to the channel and you can watch the 24-hour streaming channel there live. And the other cool thing about YouTube is you can also, on your big screen, watch my latest weather update there as well. So kind of an interesting little tidbit of information there. Good morning to Ruth, Ridge Top Sellers. Good morning there. And Jay saying good morning. Happy Tuesday to you all. By the way, also want to mention, new sponsor. So excited. Got a new sponsor here today. In fact, yesterday is when it kind of officially started, but we are very excited to bring on board NorCal Tractors. If you've ever been there, I mean, this is your playground for anybody, right, who has a farm, or even if, you're looking for a riding mower or a good mower. I tell you what, those are the people to go to because they've got everything you need when it comes to that home maintenance. Of course, when I say maintenance, keeping your yard in good shape, and not to mention if you're a farmer, the tractors, of course, the trailers and the rentals. I mean, they've got the works there. So be sure to check out my new sponsor and give them a big shout out. Maybe next time you're heading out there, say, hey, saw you on Weather NorCal, saw you on Coffee with Krueger in the morning. Let them know and welcome them to our list of sponsors that keeps growing and growing, which means that means Weather NorCal is growing out there as well. So very excited about that. Again, thank you to our new sponsor. You're going to see them also later on the Weathercast because they have sponsored the Valley neighborhood forecast. You're going to see them all over the place for the Valley neighborhood. All right, take a look at this. There are your temperatures out there right now. We're sitting at about 50 degrees in Redding. Right now, we're at about 48 degrees in Red Bluff, and looks like we are looking at those temperatures around 51 degrees for Oroville, 32 degrees in El Turris, 50 in Redway, and Eureka, a temperature of about 44 degrees. The visibility, there may be some patchy fog out there for some of those mountain or inland valleys, but for the most part, visibility is looking pretty good. And we take a look at the satellite image here, and it looks like we are seeing that cold front is approaching. But don't let that deter you. Don't get too discouraged by that, because we do have another gorgeous day in store for us today. If you like the weather you saw yesterday, then you are going to like today. However, I think the coast, you're probably going to see that marine layer kind of kick in a little bit later today, and you'll probably be looking at more of those low clouds kind of kicking in. But for today, 80 degrees, sure, it's not out of the question, especially for the north end of the valley. We saw it yesterday. Not out of the question for it again today with sunny skies. Trinity County, upper 70s. It's going to be in the upper 50s for the north coast. Mid 70s for Siskiyou County, around Mount Shasta City, for example. But even look at the eastern mountains. Look at Modoc County. We're looking at temperatures in the low 70s for your daytime highs. This is one of those days where it's like, oh yeah, get out there and enjoy it. Because it's going to get a lot cooler out there. Take a look at Crescent City Harbor District. Now, if you look off in the distance there, you can actually see it's not too far. You see kind of a little low area of some low clouds just kind of off there in that harbor there as well. That'll probably burn off once the sun kind of comes out, but this is kind of a sign of things to come, I think, here as we get into the late morning and early afternoon hours. We'll probably start to see more of the, what we call that stratus deck, those low clouds kind of probably coming in here from the coast. Meanwhile, we take out to Lake Oroville, North Forebay. Yeah, of course, you got the clear skies out there, turning out to be a gorgeous start to your day. A little on the chilly side, I think, for some people. Might argue that it might be a little chilly out there. This is out at Elk Country, just north of Trinidad. And looks like we have the mainly clear skies out there as well. Kind of hard to see sometimes when you got that contrast of the darker image up front, but then off in the distance, just over those hills, by the way, is where the ocean is. And of course, it looks like we're just kind of a little washed out there, but most likely looking at the mainly clear skies there this morning. Let's take you back out to Lake Oroville, North Forebay. There you can see, of course, the winds are very calm out there this morning. We take a look at Main Street, Chico. Looks like traffic is flowing smoothly there. Mainly clear skies out there this morning. We take you out to Highway 99 at Neal Road, and traffic is flowing smoothly there. Looking off in the distance, we got the mainly clear skies there as well. And this is a look at Sundial Bridge Drive out on Highway 44. Looks like everything is okay there as well. Nothing really too terribly exciting going on this morning, right? Other than the fact it's beautiful. I mean, and look at the winds too. Remember yesterday at this time, it was pretty gusty in some spots, especially for, say, Red Bluff southward, even parts along the coast. But now the winds are significantly calmer. But again, that wasn't the case yesterday. Look at the peak gusts we saw in the last 24 hours, 20, close to 30 miles per hour. I mean, was this a damaging wind event? No, but it was definitely that kind of that nuisance wind that we saw out there in many locations out there yesterday. But the forecast winds here for today shouldn't be that bad. They may pick up a little on the breezy side, I think, in some spots here later on this afternoon, but not much of an issue. We take into this afternoon, maybe a little bit stronger. Now, the winds calm down again for your Wednesday morning for the most part. But notice out towards Del Norte County, you're seeing those winds gusting up there a little bit. And then we go into Wednesday, through the day on Wednesday, tomorrow, those winds will start to pick up. And that's mainly going to be in association with some thunderstorms that could be popping through the area, which we'll get into that here a little bit later. But the winds should start to die down as we take you into Thursday afternoon. Let's take a look at the severe outlook. Now, the areas in green, this is basically just the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma saying, hey, listen, the conditions are out there for thunderstorms to develop. That doesn't mean it's going to happen, but this is something we got to look out here for tomorrow. And then as we get into Thursday, look at this. Thursday, we actually have most of Northern California as a chance for thunderstorms. Now, I'm thinking the best chances will be in the valley, the inland areas, and along the coast here as we take you into your Thursday. In fact, let's take a look at Futurecast. We'll get you through the day today. See that those low clouds kind of hitting the coast there. So we're probably going to start to see more and more in the way of cloud cover as we get into the afternoon hours for the coast. Now also notice in the mountains, you see those clouds there in the mountains? What you'll probably notice in the valley, and of course off in the distance from the valley, but even in the mountains, you'll probably notice a few more of those puffy cumulus clouds developing through the afternoon. This is normal this time of the year. It's getting warmer. You're noticing that, right? So now we've got the colder air aloft, and we've got what we call convection. The heat rises from the surface. And sometimes it's just enough to produce some of those puffy cumulus clouds. But then sometimes, like maybe later this afternoon and evening, we may see a pop-up shower, especially in parts of Siskiyou County, maybe even northern Shasta County as well. But there you can see 8 o'clock tonight. Most of it drops to the north-northeast. That moves out. So that's a very weak disturbance passing through this evening. Tomorrow morning, I think we're going to see the low clouds, maybe some fog along the coast, mainly dry, maybe a little bit of drizzle, right, along the coast here tomorrow morning. But for the valley, it's mainly clear. Got a couple of clouds up to the north. Then we go into Wednesday around noon. Now, this is the beginning phases of the first disturbance passing through. You see that cold front. It's the tail end of the cold front. So what we're seeing here, very insignificant. Most likely won't amount to much, if anything, quite honestly. This is through noon on Wednesday, so really not very wet to start off the day on Wednesday. But then that cold front pushes eastward. This is when there's the potential for some showers for the north end of the valley, maybe even around parts of Tehama County. A little bit heavier as it head northward into northern Shasta County, Siskiyou County, and even Modoc County. This is where, remember you saw the severe outlook, the thunderstorm outlook. This is where we could start to see thunderstorms, especially to the north, out towards, say, eastern Siskiyou County and into Modoc County. Now, look at this. By 6 p.m. tomorrow, look where the bulk of the activity is. It's north and east of the valley. So this is, again, where we can see some thunderstorms popping up tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. Now, we can't rule out some of this activity making its way into the valley late tomorrow afternoon. But I'm not expecting to see a ton. But, you know, we've got that chance for showers in there nonetheless. Snow levels very high, around 6,000 feet, give or take. So I'm not expecting any snow at this point, even for the higher elevations. But notice it's dry. But look off to the left of your screen there. That's the next disturbance that'll be kind of pushing down to the south. And that, by the way, that's the colder air. That's when we really start to see temperatures begin to drop. So take a look at tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Now we're starting to see snow show up on the map here, right? Because the colder air is beginning to move in. Now, snow levels at this point, probably closer, quite honestly, to around 4,000 to 5,000 feet. So they're beginning to drop a little bit. And we're still dry in the valley tomorrow night. Now, we're starting to see that cold air kind of swivel into the area. So you see the snow down to 2,500, 3,500 feet. And quite honestly, it could get as low as 2,000 feet. Maybe a bit of a light dusting, possibly, for places like Hayfork and Weaverville, but most likely in the form of a rain-snow mix. But you can see kind of a heavier push coming in early tomorrow morning, mainly for Del Norte and Humboldt counties. Now, you see how it pushes eastward? So by noon, we're beginning to see more snow flurries in some of the higher elevations between 2,500, 3,500 feet. Could see some isolated thunderstorms for the coast. We may start to see some thunderstorms developing tomorrow afternoon for the valley. It's going to be hit or miss. Some of us are going to see maybe some light showers off and on through the afternoon. Others may experience a thunderstorm. Now, I don't expect anything severe to be a big deal, but the colder air aloft is certainly going to bring us an unstable atmosphere. And there, of course, you can see some of the snow in the higher elevations. This is what we call low-impact snow. Because here's the thing. This is a fairly moisture-starved system coming in on Thursday. So it's not going to bring us a ton of rain, and it's not going to bring us a ton of snow. Now, if you get caught under a thunderstorm, you say, what are you talking about? Not a ton of rain, right? Because you might experience a heavy downpour for a brief period of time, and then it moves out. And same with the snow. I mean, a brief period of some heavy snow in some spots, but overall, it's not going to amount to a lot of snow. In fact, let's take a look at the forecast snow totals. I'm taking this directly from the forecast model data. So let's analyze this. Weaverville, Hayfork, not out of the question to see some snowflakes. At the very least, I think you'll see a mix for Weaverville and Hayfork, and maybe even a light dusting. Mount Shasta, Dunsmuir, Lakehead, you see that? You see how it's under an inch? And in fact, most places are under an inch. That's because, again, it's moisture starved. We're not going to get a ton of snow in the lower mountain communities. But even look at 5 p.m. Thursday. Look at some of the highest elevations. Lassen, Trinity Alps, right? You're only getting not even in that 12-inch range. So even the highest elevations are just going to see, probably a few inches of snow. So this is not going to be a huge impact as far as snow is concerned. All right, let's get you through the day today. And there you can see beautiful weather today. I think some of us could touch that 80-degree mark for today. We take you to the south in Trinity County, and there you can see 76 degrees for Hayfork, 69 in Wildwood, and 70 out in Mad River. We take you out to southern Humboldt County for the North Coast neighborhood forecast. Look at that. You got that chance for showers as early as tomorrow, but really, again, you saw just how insignificant that was. But maybe some thunderstorms on Thursday. 60 in Ferndale today, 63 degrees for Rio Dell, 62 in Fortuna. So we're kind of in that area where we're still getting a bit of that marine influence. So it tends to be a little bit cooler there. Eureka 60, 66 degrees for Blue Lake. But yeah, inland. 82 might be pushing it for Willow Creek. But yeah, I mean, could we get up to 80? Sure. Same thing for Hoopa with a high of about 79. We take you up north, Smith River, 66, 62 degrees for Klamath. And there you can see Gas Key, about 64 degrees. All right, let's take you off into your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. Happy Camp, 81, 83 for Horse Creek. Those numbers might be a little high again, but you get the idea. It is going to be a warm, beautiful day. Temperatures mid-70s for Scott Valley. It's dry today, but we could see a passing shower for tomorrow, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm, not to mention on Thursday. But look at the snow levels from 6,000 feet Wednesday down to 2,500 feet by Thursday and Friday. Central and eastern Siskiyou County, a high of 72 degrees for Tule Lake. McLeod, 74 and 76 degrees in Dunsmuir. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast. Newell, Canby, California Pines, Elturus, about 71. 68 degrees for Cedarville. And Fort Bidwell, about 69. And your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, you're looking at 70 in Bieber. Old Station, about 66 and 72 degrees for Paynes Creek. We take you out to Lake Almanor and Lassen Park. Of course, those are going to be some of the cooler spots. But look at Chester. Oh, man. 70 degrees for a high today. 67 degrees for Westwood. Take you out to Paradise, a high of 69. 76 for Quincy. Kronberg, 70. 66 degrees for Mineral. Again, those snow levels fairly low. All right, let's take a look at your Valley neighborhood forecast. Brought to you by NorCal Tractors. Oh, yes. So excited to have them on as a sponsor. Thank you so much, NorCal Tractor, for being the Valley neighborhood sponsor, the neighborhood forecast sponsor. 77 degrees out in Red Bluff, 74 for Chico, and 75 degrees for Durham. And there you can see City of Shasta Lake. Got to be careful when you're saying the City of Shasta Lake. You heard me say, right? The City of Shasta Lake. 75 degrees for Lakehead. I've come very close, by the way. It's happened, but I've never actually done it. 77 degrees for Palo Cedro, 77 for Cottonwood and Anderson, about 79 degrees. Let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Reading. Now, where you see the word chance, basically what it's saying is this. Most likely you'll be dry on those days, okay? So Wednesday, I think will be the best chance of all those days that say chance of seeing some measurable precipitation, especially late in the day Wednesday. Thursday, that's when we see scattered showers and maybe some isolated thunderstorms. And that's also when the cold air is in place, right? So we're only looking at a high of 56 on Thursday. I mean, what is that? Almost a 25 degree drop there. So, I mean, we're looking at quite a drop in those temperatures from today to Thursday. Tomorrow's kind of the transition. You'll notice a drop in the temperatures, but still mild. And then temperatures, climbing a little bit, upper 50s for Friday, Saturday. But notice I've got the word chance in there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's because we still have these weak systems that are going to be passing through that are moisture starved, number one, and number two, just don't have a lot of energy associated with them. So the main impact will be cooler temperatures, some clouds, and maybe some passing sprinkles or a light shower, but more dry than not. Basically, through this entire time frame, the best chance for measurable rainfall will be on Thursday. Again, that's when you can also be looking at the chance for some thunderstorms in the forecast as well. By the way, it's kind of interesting. I wanted to show you this because, where we're not looking at very active weather, it is going to be a very active day for our neighbors off on the eastern United States. You see that little pocket of red there? That is a 15% chance of seeing a significant tornado. 10% chance in the area is in yellow. So this is some active weather heading off to the east. Now again, right here, you're seeing that red. This is the best potential for seeing strong tornadoes. So you may see it on your social media post, about what's going on to the east. I've got some friends that are, in the weather industry, of course, doing what I'm doing here with their own web-based weather channels, and they are going to be very busy. A lot of my friends out in the Tennessee area with the active weather that they have heading their way. By the way, speaking of the nation, speaking of some big events, we've got a big event coming up in less than a week. Yes, a total solar eclipse. Now, you may recall last year what's known as the annular eclipse, where it's not a total eclipse of the sun, but we did see that ring of fire around the eclipse. And it was just outside of our area. In fact, Alturas was within the area where you could get the full ring of fire, but then you head south of Alturas, and it was kind of getting less and less of that ring of fire. I ended up going out to Ashland and was able to check out the entire ring of fire. It was great. But we are nowhere near the total eclipse path, which will be on April 8th. You can see in central Texas, working its way off into the north and east. Now, as you start getting to the south or to the northwest of that eclipse path, you start seeing less and less coverage. So where we are, it's just not going to be the most exciting thing. That being said, we'll still be able to see a partial eclipse of the sun on April 8th. That's next Monday. Is that next Monday? I think it is. Hold on. Hang tight, my friends, because I don't want to give you... Yeah, that's next Monday. Just making sure. Got to make sure, right? But, I mean, look at that. I mean, out towards Crescent City, the coast, I mean, you're going to be in the 10 to 20% range. Again, it's not going to be super exciting. But that being said, if you are going to be going out there and you want to check it out, don't do this. No. Don't even use it with sunglasses. You can't look at the sun ever without proper protection. You're going to need something like this. Now, these are the ones I use for the annular eclipse, but you can get these on Amazon. And I just checked even yesterday. If you want to order them now. You can get them if you've got Amazon, the 2-day Prime. You can get them within a day or two. So here's what you do. You put them on. I cannot see a thing right now. And this is what you do. Now you can look at the sun. Okay? Okay. Now I look a little silly, but these are what you're going to need. Do not ever. Now, the only time you can actually do that is during an eclipse like this. And when I say that, if you're in the path of complete totality. When the sun is completely covered by the earth, then you can look at the sun at that point. But technically, you're not even looking at the sun. You're looking at the earth's shadow on the sun. Kind of interesting. Kind of neat. And, it's too bad. I would have loved to have taken a trip. I mean, I've got family out in Texas. I could have gone, fly out there. But, with the new business, whether NorCal, I couldn't swing it. So, not going to happen this one. I'm going to have to do some research to see if there's going to be another totality, because I do know that I would like to check one out one of these days. But it's all in the fate in the hands of Mother Nature and the universe and all that stuff, right? So, we'll kind of go back to that. Again, you can see it's just not going to be the most exciting thing for us, but it's always exciting to see a shadow nonetheless. So if you want to go check it out. I mean, how many of you are going out? I mean, some people, and I tell you what, they plan it. I mean, my mom, she's kind of retiring down in Mexico, lives down there in the Baja region, and she's traveling in the path of totality because she wants to check out the eclipse. And here's the thing. That entire path of totality, I'm going to take you back to it. That entire path of totality, I can almost guarantee that every single town, community, big city, whatnot, I bet you all of the hotels are booked. I remember when I, about a week out, was going to try to get a hotel in Alturas to try to stay and check out the eclipse there. All the hotels are booked. Couldn't get in. So I can almost guarantee that it's probably too late at this point to get any kind of place to stay. And then the traffic too. I remember when we had that totality not too long ago, it was up north into Oregon, and there was traffic backed up on I-5 around or just before and after the eclipse, because everyone was, going to where the eclipse was going to be. So we can consider ourselves lucky just through the fact that we're not going to be, dealing with that. We're just going to be anywhere you are, you can look up. And of course, we'll look at the forecast too. Maybe it'll be overcast and it won't even matter. But I'll keep you updated with any chances. But it looks like Monday is looking pretty good weather-wise. So I'm not concerned about the clouds covering up at least what little bit of an eclipse we'll get to see out there. Let's see what everybody's up to out there this morning. Good morning. Are the roads looking good to Susanville today? Yes, you'll be fine. You're going to be absolutely fine, Bill. You're not going to have to worry about anything with those roads because there hasn't been any rain or any snow. And it's going to be a nice warm day. So, yep, have a good trip. Have a good trip to Susanville and a safe trip. Even when it's not wet, when it's not snowy, those roads can be dangerous because they're so windy and, all that good stuff. Shelly, good morning to you. I haven't seen you in a while. Glad you could join us this morning. Laureen, good morning to you. Good morning, 7 miles west of Red Bluff. Another example of locations here. We measured 27.45 for the year to date. Red Bluff Airport, 19 inches. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for that, Curtis. Thank you for that. Good representation of, it may be different where you are. And so the next time you're looking at rainfall totals and it's completely off from what you had, number one, if you have a rain gauge, you don't need me to tell you how much rain you saw because you have it right there in your rain gauge. But if you don't have a rain gauge and you want to get a general idea of what the rain was, then I can report those for you when we get that rain. Good morning, 51 degrees in Palisadro. We need more warm weather to keep those weeds growing. Okay, you like the weeds? I know a lot of people that don't like weeds, but I guess that's just a matter of preference. My lawn I'm looking at it right now. Embarrassing. Good morning to you, Sally, and good morning from Crescent City. See how everybody's doing out there this morning. Good morning from Orland. Butch, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing this morning? Good morning from Reading. I'm going to check just this one location here. Yeah, it looks like I'll be able to do that. I'll have to check that out. Should be interesting. All right, anyway, before we get to the forecast, I want to remind you of my radio partners. I was actually having a conversation with someone, and there are more and more people that are saying, hey, I listen to you every morning on the radio. And I'm like, this is great. This was one of the reasons why I wanted to have a radio partner. So I want to encourage you to, even when I'm not on, I want you to encourage you to check out these radio stations. If you're looking for a good source of local news and national news, you can go to News Talk KQMS. Steve Gibson, he's been in the area for a long time. And as far as I'm concerned, is a respected journalist and has been here for a long time giving the news. So I do a radio update with them in the morning at 8:05. So if you're in your car and you're heading off to work or whatnot, tune in at 8:05 and you'll get my latest forecast there. Also, Logan Kane, great guy. I chat with him kind of before and after we do our update, and he's just a great guy, and he loves what he does. And 106X, that's about 7:50 in the morning. And then Don and Heather in the mornings, of course, come on. Everybody loves Don and Heather in the mornings, right? Come on. And they are so much fun to chat with and kind of get going. They love to try to, do pranks on me and do silly dad jokes in the works. But that's typically around, actually closer to 7:30, 7:35, sometime within that time frame. That's not a hard hit, as well as the 7:50. That's typically not a hard hit either, but just kind of give you an idea. So if you hear me when you're out and about on the radio in the morning, well, now you know why. All right, let's go ahead and get to your forecast. But before we do that, we need to mention our sponsor. And of course, that is Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's get to those current temperatures out there right now. And what we're seeing here are temperatures upper 40s for most of us in the valley right now. It's a little on the chilly. This is that time of the year, right, where you have the clear skies, calm conditions, and it's cool in the morning. But then we warm up really nicely in the afternoon. And today's a perfect example of that. I mean, it's not bad, right? Upper 40s for the valley, but I mean, we're below freezing in Alturas at 29, 34 degrees for Susanville, right just below freezing in Bernie at about 31. Now we're sitting at 45 for Crescent City, 44 degrees in Eureka. So your weather headlines, it's going to be another dry and warm day. In fact, some locations may be warmer today than it was yesterday, especially in the mountains. So a gorgeous day. This is a day, although I'm not encouraging it, but I am, to not feeling so well if you're able to call in sick to work. Maybe, maybe not. But of course, it's spring break for a lot of kiddos. I know in the Reading area, my wife works in the school system, so she's got the week off. So we're just able to really enjoy this beautiful weather. Showers return on Wednesday, significantly cooler by Thursday, but I do expect those snow levels to be fairly low. I mean, I've got 2,500 feet. It could be lower than that. There's that severe outlook, as I mentioned here, for tomorrow, mainly off to the north and east, and then you can see because it's a little bit more widespread. But as you may be experiencing and understand is that when we're in this is the lowest category. This is just basically saying the atmosphere is unstable, and we could be looking at the potential for thunderstorms, but it's not always guaranteed. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast, and there you can see those clouds coming in. So we're starting off mainly clear for the coast, but I do expect a lot of those low clouds are going to come in here later on this afternoon, and those puffy cumulus clouds developing in the afternoon for the higher elevations, and even a slight chance for a stray shower in central and northeastern Siskiyou County this afternoon and evening. But it's not going to be amount to much, most likely. That'll move on out of here, and then we start to see some changes occur tomorrow. We're going to start to see those changes, nothing major going on just yet. 6 a.m. Wednesday, there are those clouds kind of coming in for the coast, maybe some light drizzle there as well. Meanwhile, we do have some of the clouds to the north, but still fairly sunny to start off the day for the valley on Wednesday. Now we go to Wednesday around noon. There is the tail end of the cold front. Now, as you may or may not know, I mean, from experience, this is typical. When we get the tail end of a cold front, it typically doesn't do much for us. In fact, many times you get decent rain for the coast, and then it kind of breaks apart as it moves over the coastal range and the Marble Mountains, for example. But this is weak to begin with, so it's not going to really bring us much in the way of rain through Wednesday morning. But, if you see a passing shower or sprinkle for Delaware, Humboldt, western Siskiyou, even parts of Trinity County, don't be surprised. But then as it kind of shifts eastward, here's the cold front right here. So you see how we're seeing things begin to pop up a little bit more. And on top of that, we're getting some of that daytime heating. Now, the colder air has not really moved in yet, so snow levels, 5,000 to 6,000 feet. You can see some pop-ups again along that cold front as it moves to the east. This is 5,500 to 6,500 foot snow levels, so still very high snow levels. We could be looking at the potential for some thunderstorms here, and you saw that on that severe outlook. It's mainly this right up here where we're seeing that best potential for thunderstorms. But look at the valley. The valley may dodge all of this, because what's going to happen is it's going to kind of hop the valley. We see that sometimes where you have the cold front, it brings a little bit of shower activity for the mountains to the west, and then it hops the valley where we don't see much there, and then you see more redevelopment along that cold front as you start getting back into the mountains east of the valley. But sometimes we can see some of those stray showers developing for parts of the valley. Could we even see a thunderstorm? Here's some rumbles of thunder just to the east, northeast of Reading or Red Bluff. Sure, not out of the question there. Then we go into Wednesday night. Now, I've still got snow levels 5,500 to 6,500 feet. This is when they're going to start to drop, because the cold front is now off to the east. And you see how we're just not seeing anything very heavy at this point. Dry for the valley, but look at off behind me here. Look at off just to the west of the coast. We've got the cold and unstable air moving in. This is going to be a typical unsettled pattern, because watch what happens. You can, number one, see the flow around the main area of low pressure off to our north. That area of low pressure will be diving southward here through the rest of the week. But as we go into Thursday morning, we're beginning to see, with those lower snow levels, the potential for some snow down to about 2,500, 3,500 feet. And quite honestly, locally lower. It could drop down to 2,000 feet at periods of time. But there you can see the potential for thunderstorms, which could mean a brief period of heavy rainfall for the coast, and of course some of the snow. Could we be looking at some chain requirements on Highway 299 Thursday morning? Not out of the question, especially when you're looking at snow levels that low. Now, you see again the flow around that area of low pressure is basically just transporting that colder air on in, And we're starting to see more showers, scattered showers, possible thunderstorms for the coast, more scattered snow flurries in the higher elevations. And then, of course, really not much going on for the valley just yet. But we may begin to see some showers developing by the noon hour on Thursday. But through Thursday afternoon, now we're starting to see the better potential for those thunderstorms popping up in the valley. Snow level still 2,500, 3,500 feet. And there, of course, you can see the snow in the higher elevations. And as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, I was talking about this is going to be a low event snow, a low impact snow event, because it looks fairly impressive, but overall, this is a fairly moisture-starved system. So the amount of snow that we do see in the lower mountain communities, even Mount Shasta, Bernie, Alturas, it's not going to amount to much. Maybe a light dusting, maybe an inch or two at the most, right? Even places like Chester, but you have to go up pretty high in elevation, and even that, it'll most likely be less than a foot of snow. So again, not a ton coming out of this system. Now the winds, I mentioned earlier that they should be calmer than they were yesterday, but still getting a little bit more breezy later this afternoon and evening, but nothing to be concerned about. Then we go into Wednesday morning. The winds kind of calm down for the most part. They start to pick up through the day on Wednesday. Now, this is not going to be the type of damaging wind. It's going to be more of a nuisance wind than anything else. It's going to probably start to kind of kick up a lot of the pollens that we were beginning to see starting to kind of make the way. So you'll probably notice, if you're sensitive to allergies, you'll probably notice your allergies beginning to kind of kicking back in here. And then we go into Thursday. It looks like the winds should start to die down, but still a little breezy in some spots. So there's the big picture. Big ridge of high pressure in place today. This is the storm system that's moving in later this week. All right, so there's the area of low pressure diving down to the south. So Wednesday is the transition day. This right here, and this is something I've talked about before. We take this, it's called the trough axis. This is the area right here of the most amount of instability. This is also where these disturbances kind of go into the flow right there, and it comes right in here. So this is what we call diffluence, divergence, right? This is where we see the most amount of instability and could be looking at the potential for showers, maybe some thunderstorms here as that cold front passes. But then the main area of low pressure dives down over us by Thursday. This right here is the pocket of colder air. That's why the snow levels are dropping on Thursday. We go into Friday. That moves to the east, but check this out. Toward the weekend, we've got another pocket of cold air right here that'll be traveling down. This one, not as cold as the one that's going to be coming in the next couple of days, but still will give us some fairly low snow levels over the weekend. That moves out. High pressure will build in. Remember, of course, this is when the eclipse will be happening. So it looks like we've got mainly clear skies here and warmer conditions as well. And then that'll be the case. It'll push off to our north and east. And look at this. I mean, towards the latter part of next week, we could be looking at the potential for maybe a chance for some more wet weather. But below normal precipitation is what we're looking at here. So you saw all those systems coming through. They're just moisture starved. So even though we do have the chances for showers in there, it's not going to be a lot, even when we do see it. So we can take a look at the rainfall outlook through Monday. Maybe upwards of 1/4 of an inch for some of the highest amounts of rain for the valley. But I think we're talking mainly a few hundredths to upwards of a few tenths of an inch of rainfall for the valley. Once all is said and done through Monday. Most of it will fall on Thursday. And then after that, it's not going to amount to much. Same situation for the coast. We're actually seeing more activity off to the north and to the east. All right, so again, we're going to take a look at the warmer air that's over us right now. That is moving out. The colder air to our north, that's what starts to move in by Thursday. So this is when we see the coldest air is on Thursday and Friday. Then by the weekend, that moves out. We've got another pocket of cold air. Again, this one not as cold, but that's coming in for this upcoming weekend, keeping those temperatures down below normal. But then, as we go into early next week, that ridge of high pressure builds in. It warms up a little bit. Not a major increase, but we'll see an increase in the temperatures. And again, this right here is what could possibly be impacting our weather toward the end of next week. So the Climate Prediction Center is keeping us at least a chance of seeing those below normal temperatures here in the long range. So here are your wave heights. We're looking at those wave heights actually increasing as we go into Wednesday. Why? Of course, because we've got that storm system that is approaching. So your marine forecast for your Tuesday, northwest winds at 5 to 10 knots. There will be that patchy dense fog, especially as you start heading out to sea. The low clouds and fog that we're seeing over the ocean, that's going to be making its way out along the coast here later this afternoon. You'll probably be looking at more overcast skies later today. But overall, plenty of sunshine. You know, and the thing is, could we see some 80-degree readings for parts of the valley? Not out of the question. Not to mention even out towards Trinity County and some of the inland areas as well. But overall, just a gorgeous day. Get out there and soak up that sunshine and enjoy it. Although you probably won't be able to soak up as much sunshine out along the coast. Here's your 7-day outlook for the valley. There's the sunny skies today. Slight chance for showers on Wednesday. Better chances. This right here. This is when we'll see most of the rain. This is when we'll see the best chance for thunderstorms. And then off and on chances for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But I want to mention that where you see the word chance here for Friday through the weekend, it'll be drier more than it will be wet. I expect you'll most likely be looking at dry conditions. Every once in a while, you may see a passing sprinkle or a light shower, some mixture of sun and clouds. It's a typical unsettled weather pattern. For the coast, same situation. Slight chance here as we go into tomorrow, better chances going into Thursday, and then again off and on chances through the weekend. And looking at your 7-day outlook for Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and the Eastern Mountains. Beautiful dry day out there today. Snow levels high, around 6,000 feet for your Wednesday. And by the way, notice Susanville, I don't have any rain or snow there. That's because it should be dry through most of the day on Wednesday. It's not until Thursday, really Wednesday night into Thursday, that's Susanville. You'll start to see some of that rain and snow kicking in. Snow levels around 3,000 feet for the Modoc County in northern Sierra, keeping it that way for your Friday, and then off and on chances through the weekend. And then it looks like it dries out and it starts to warm up a little bit here as we do go into early next week. So that is a look at your forecast for today, and looks like bring back spring, please. Well, I agree. I'm ready. I think a lot of people are ready for spring. I think a lot of people are ready for the rain to go away. I mean, we're doing great with the rainfall season. We're doing great in the snowpack. We can't complain about that. So, I mean, I say bring it on. Let's bring on that warmer weather. Although, again, sometimes people say be careful what you ask for, because before you know it, you're looking at temperatures over 100 degrees. Fun. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up. We got your forecast in there, and hope everyone is having a great start to your week so far. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day out there today. Get out there and enjoy, because before you know it, it's going to be gone. I'm going to leave you with some cameras out there to kind of show you just how beautiful it is starting out there this morning, even for parts of the coast. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow morning on Coffee with Krueger starting at 6:30.